Today, I'm going to be talking about agenda setting theory. First, I want to look at what the theory is about and what it looks at. Agenda setting theory describes the ability of the media to influence topics on public agenda. First, the media creates their own agenda and portrays it on TV or magazines. People then see this agenda and adopt it as their own. If a certain piece of news or an idea is shown more prominently or more frequently, people will find it more important than other ideas and topics. This is what the theory is about and what it really looks at. Now, I want to talk about who founded the theory and how it came about. Agenda setting theory was founded by Comm and Shaw. Although they were the first to formally develop the theory, its application was first seen in 1922, when Walter Lippmann wrote an article about his concern over the power the media exercised when showing images to the public. It wasn't until 1968 that McCombs and Shaw started to develop the theory. They looked at the presidential elections of 1968, 1972, and 1976. They wanted to see if there was a connection between what the media was presenting and the views that the people had of the election. They did this by asking people in certain areas what their view of the election was. They connected these views to the portrayal of the election by the media. They found that there was indeed a connection between what the media was presenting and what the people were thinking. They extended this conclusion to other aspects of the media besides the presidential election. Their final conclusion was that the media has some sort of influence over the ideas of the people, an important aspect of the theory we know today. Now, I want to present a graphic that will help further your understanding of how this theory works. First, let's lay out the important aspects of the theory. We have the influence of the media agenda, public agenda, policy agenda, and extraneous aspects such as personal experiences and real-world indicators. Let's see how these points all influence each other. Media influence gives rise to the agenda they wish to portray. Gatekeepers are the ones who spread the agenda and have the ability to reach larger audiences. Media agenda then influences both public agenda and policy agenda. Policy agenda is basically part of politics and government. Public agenda also has an influence over policy agenda. Once this influence has occurred, policy agenda in turn goes back to influence media agenda. This is basically a cycle of influence starting with the media. Along the way, we can see that our personal experiences, as well as what is going on in the real world, has an influence on the agenda, from media agenda to policy agenda. This basically means that for something to make it on the agenda, it has to have some importance in the real world. The biggest point this image presents is that media holds the power to form the initial agenda for others to follow. Last but not least, let's get into some real-world examples. This will help tie in our understanding of the inner workings of the theory. We see agenda setting theory more prominently in politics. We've already touched base on this when talking about McCombs and Shaw, so I want to show you a more interesting example. In my research of the theory, I found that agenda setting can be seen in the O.J. Simpson murder trial. The difference of opinion over the case is more prominently seen when looking at two magazines, Newsweek and Time magazine. The most important aspect of these magazines are their covers. This is what we will be looking at. The Time magazine cover showed a picture of Simpson with the caption, "An American Tragedy." They find the situation to be a tragedy that O.J. Simpson was unfortunate to be a part of and accused of. Newsweek, on the other hand, shows Simpson with the caption, "Trail of Blood." They took to the other side of the argument and portrayed Simpson in a not-so-innocent light. People who were to pass by a magazine rack and see one of these covers might be influenced to think a certain way about the case, depending on which magazine they saw. This really puts the theory and the power of the media into perspective. This is my presentation of agenda setting theory and what you need to know to understand what it's about. Thanks for watching!